strange concept to some people, but to me, it seems like it's the only concept that should matter. No? Fight me in the comments. Do you know anybody that's married? I mean, I know some people, not many. And then it got me wondering, like, I really don't see people getting married like that anymore. I mean, a lot of my older friends, they've definitely been to like several weddings. Myself, I've been to 2. And even like, as far as getting married myself, like I've thought about it, but it's kind of never really been something that's like on the forefront of my mind, so to speak. Like, it would be nice, but okay, if it doesn't, right? So naturally, I am curious, like, why are people not getting married like they used to, right? So if you're a curious cat like me, don't worry. We're gonna explore all the reasons why. But before we get into that, make sure that you go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It's free. Like, literally, it doesn't cost you anything, sis. Just subscribe to the channel and turn on that post notification bell so that you can be notified of more videos like this. My name is Tandy. Now let's get into it.
No one knows exactly when the first marriage took place. People have been getting married for thousands of years. It's an ancient institution, but for some people, it's perhaps a bit too ancient.
89% of the world's population now live in countries with falling marriage rates. This is especially pronounced in the richest countries. Among the 38 OECD nations, most recorded between 7 and 10 marriages per 1,000 people in 1970. By 1995, this fell to around 5 to 7 marriages, and it continues to plummet today.
So why is this happening, and will it spell the end of marriage as we know it?
5 to 7, 7 to 10, like that's actually not that big of a difference in my opinion, and it's not that many people either. Out of 1,000 people? I don't know why I was just thinking that the numbers would be significantly higher compared to, you know, the 21st century. So that's actually a really interesting fact.
A stable marriage has often been associated with financial stability. Married households in the US hold significantly higher wealth than cohabiting couples or singles. But despite this, the marriage rate in the US has dropped by nearly 60% since the 1970s. And the median age for first-time marriages has increased for both women and men.
Well, I can answer that right now because, I mean, the money ain't money like it used to, okay? And a lot of people, it's taking a little bit longer for them to get to the bag. And of course, there's always anomalies, and there's a lot of kids, I don't even want to say kids, but yeah, no, there's kids too. There's a lot of kids getting to the bag early. A lot of people, like, for example, the millennial age bracket, like, they're trying to get it figured out. Like, the millennials are the people now who would be ideally getting married, right? So it makes sense in my head anyway that, you know, they're waiting longer to get married because they still trying to figure shit out, okay? They trying to figure it out still, okay? Because again, the money ain't money like it used to, all right? Let's keep watching though.
For a variety of reasons, I think upper middle class Americans are just much more likely to be kind of intentional about sequencing their lives in terms of education first, work second, marriage third, and the baby carriage after all of that. And so they're just in a much better spot, both financially and relationship-wise, when they go ahead and have kids.
The cost of marriage usually starts with a wedding. This is a tiny wedding cake I bought in London for $50, thankfully just within our production budget. But if you wanted the same cake, but big enough to serve 100 people, then you would have to pay at least $250. Add in the price of a venue, a tuxedo, a dress, drinks and music, and suddenly you're looking at a very large bill.
Getting married is just the tip of the iceberg. Starting a family adds all sorts of economic commitments. It typically starts with a house, followed by a car, maybe kids, which means more expenses like books, toys, and family vacations. In a nutshell, you become a fully engaged consumer in the economy.
Yo, just listening to all of those responsibilities gave me an entire migraine. Like, ghetto. Just ghetto. Oh my God.
Some people choose not to go down this road, while others simply can't afford to.
From about 1980 to the present, there's been no greater increase in family instability than there has been among this working class demographic in the US, sort of than basically the second quintile of the family income distribution. I think there are a couple of big factors here in play. So one major factor, of course, is sort of the changing economy and the way in which working class men are less likely to be stably employed.
American adults from high-income groups have maintained a stable marriage rate since the 1970s. But among the middle and especially lower-income groups, marriages declined to 66% and 38% respectively by 2018. Since the 1970s, there has been a decline in the number of American men without college degrees in the US labor force. The last 50 years also saw their earnings stagnate and decrease.
By contrast, we're seeing women having a more secure footing in today's sort of more service post-industrial economy.
And that's on Barbie, period.
And so we know that marriage is many things, but it's also in part a financial undertaking. And so when you have men who are losing ground financially in this working class demographic and women who are gaining ground, I think they both kind of see that the guy is less marriageable. And so they're less likely to kind of get married in the first place and more likely to get divorced in the second place.
Another phenomenon that affects marriage is the rise of secularism in modern societies. Here in the UK, for example, 1 in 3 people say they have no religion, up 25% since 2011. And this is a key reason why marriage is no longer the only basis for family formation.
In 2021, 51% of births in the UK took place outside of a marriage. 42% of children in the European Union and 40% of children in the US are also born to unmarried parents. For countries where this is acceptable socially, the decline in marriage does not necessarily spell trouble for the country's demographic.
Not the US actually being better in something. Imagine. Now let me stop because Sha'Carri Richardson definitely put on for the US in the, what was that? What she do? The 100-meter dash? I think she did the 100. I'm pretty sure she's a sprinter. But yeah, shout out to the US, y'all.
But in other parts of the world, most notably in East and South Asia, marriage and birth rates are highly correlated. Only 2.3% of babies are born outside of marriage in Japan, which means if people don't get married, they're also very unlikely to have children. This is a problem for Japan, the world's third largest economy and home to the world's oldest population.
The fall in birth rate is something that happens in many countries. Governments all over the world are worried because of economic implications.
From state-funded matchmaking apps to marriage support concierges, the Japanese government has introduced several incentives to promote marriage, but so far nothing has worked.
There is this, financial constraint that people feel that they may not be able to support a family and raise children.
A similar problem is troubling authorities in neighboring China, which registered the fewest marriages in 2022 since public records began.
I mean, literally, imagine that, y'all. Imagine people actually caring about the life that they bring into this world and saying, you know what, this economy isn't stable enough. I'm not financially well enough to have a child. Imagine thinking about a child's quality of life before you actually have it. It's a strange concept to some people, but to me, it seems like it's the only concept that should matter. No? Fight me in the comments.
The country also saw its birth rate fall to a record low the same year.
By 2050, China's working population will reduce by 10% and not enough, babies born to fill that gap. And the, dependent population, those who reach retirement age, will double.
In a sharp reversal from its former one-child policy, the Chinese government encourages marriage and childbirth since 2016. But this time, it's Chinese women who have reservations about married life.
And the women tend to spend significantly much more time than their husband in childcare and other related care. And also the Chinese workplace is not very women-friendly. And why women don't want to get married, why women don't want to have children is because this society is not women-friendly, the society is not child-friendly.
Men talk about the personal freedom that they get for not getting married. But at the same time, they are really worried that if they were to set up a family, they will not be able to sustain a family with the income.
Well, that was interesting to see. Comment down below your thoughts on marriage. Do you feel like this is something that is not really good to look forward to? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, you know you a real one, okay? Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, but don't forget to turn on that post notification bell so that you can be notified of more videos like this. New videos go up every Sunday. I hope to see you then. Bye.